summary video. We're here in Nahant. What we have here is a fire escape, pre-existing, non-conforming, and we have a few issues. I'm here with Inspector Nogueira, here also Andre, and we took a look. We have several issues on this fire escape. First of all, what are some of the issues that you found immediately? The original hardware or missing hardware?
It's got it's got the new type of hardware that they swapped already, but they missed.
Okay.
Like the clip has two sides, right? The connection has two sides. They swapped to one side, but they kept the original welded side to where they should have drilled the new hardware into it.
Yeah, and the bolted connections, they left the rust inside, a lot of them, correct?
They didn't open up to clean the rust.
Okay. So let's go over a couple things. What code are we going to use here today?
It's the Mass Building Code 1001.3.
Okay. And what's the three requirements? So we got to examine it, we're going to test it, and we're going to certify it?
Yes.
So today, did the fire escape pass inspection today?
No.
Okay, so they can't pass inspection. Is any life safety issues that you saw?
Any emergencies?
Yeah, on this fire escape? I didn't see any. Did you see any?
No.
Okay. All right, so we do have a fire escape that's older than 78, so the only concern about this in the paint is what? What are we concerned about?
The lead.
The lead paint. So the EPA renovator rules apply. Must be an EPA renovator to touch this fire escape.
Yes.
So let's go slowly through some of the things that you saw on here. What do you want them to do here?
Put a little clip to the wall.
Put a little clip to the wall. Okay. We'll talk about the grading in a second. A lot of welded connections. What do you want on these welded connections?
Put a gusset there.
So to eliminate the need to be X-rayed or load tested, as soon as we put a gusset here and put in two bolts, we'll put a clip underneath here, right?
Yes.
We can put a clip and bolt it, and that eliminates the need for that.
Yes.
Okay. What do you want to do on the connections?
Well, that needs to be clean.
Clean and then silicone shut?
Yes.
It gets worse as we go along, right? In some other areas, because they changed the bolt.
Yeah. But they never clean between the connections before.
You also made a comment about all the bolts facing the wrong way. What do you want them to do? I mean, it's already there, but can we just cut off the excess there and silicone shut the tips?
Yes, we usually put the bolts facing in because the channel, the top of the channel serves as a little roof that protects us from the weather, especially in this place, which is very close to the ocean.
Yeah.
So yeah, they put the thread facing out, and for now we're just gonna cut it and silicone shut it because the water can go through the thread there.
You also, we're going to talk about the grading and that you have a problem with these gratings, right? All the gratings are showing rust. They're all rotted, right? They're all in the various stages of rotting out, the spacers. So all the grading is going to need reinforcing, right?
Yes.
What's your recommendation? What do we do?
We're gonna do what we call a sandwich. We're gonna put it flat in the bottom.
Flat underneath, and then use what?
Use those
McNichols clips here. So you're going to need one here, because this is three pieces. So McNichol clip here, one or two in the middle, and then one on the end, and that stops this thing from spreading, right?
Yes.
Now this grading is creating a sandwich here, but there's no accumulation problems on this, when the grading goes this way, right? There's a problem here though that you saw, and this is all rotting out my channel here, right?
Yes, always in those sides. There's always accumulation.
And look on the other side. You can see it better if you put the camera on the other side. So that's starting to feed rust into that corner, and we got all kinds of problems there. But we need to remove this last piece of flat because the water's accumulating. There's actually a box in here. There's a piece here, a piece on the outside, and the box in the middle is accumulating water, and these are all rotting out. Look at all that rust in there. Huge amount of rust. All that needs to be cleaned out. So a lot of times with the reinforcement of the flat, we can actually cut that outside one away and don't use it anymore, because they rot out your C-channel, and it's doing that now here.
Yes.
Okay. Need a paint job on this, and they get EPA renovators license applies. All right, let's go down the stairs. What do you want to do here at every welded joint corner?
Gusset and clip.
Yeah, so gusset it, bolt it, 3/8 bolts, right? So what's your concern here?
The welded connection, like I said before, they did successfully swap the hardware, right?
Right.
The new hex.
They should have siliconed it.
Yeah, as opposed to the square one that they left behind.
They left an old one behind. So there's an old one, there's a new one.
Yes.
And what about this weld? What's your concern about the weld?
I guess when they came here, originally it was welded the same way, and they thought it was good. They never did anything.
So as soon as we pop in a bolt, we don't have to X-ray or load test this weld. So pop a bolt in here, change this bolt out, and we don't have to load test this.
Back it up with the original
hardware. What's going on this side?
same situation, but there's some rust jacking there.
Right, the rust is already getting in. Even though you got 2 new bolts here, the rust is already in there, making this thing suspect. So we got to clean that, silicone shut that, rebolt this, and that way we don't have to X-ray or load test this. Okay, so let's talk about some of these treads. You got some treads that the spacers are starting to pop on these, right? And here's a great example. Let's look at here of the tread spacer situation. What's going on there?
Yep. It's opening up. It's showing. You know, every one of them is full of rust, but the ones that open up is the one that actually show.
And we're mainly worried about the front one, because if this flat on the front gives way, there's your trip. So you put a piece of flat underneath, put a McNichols clip on the front, McNichols clip on the back, and a McNichols clip in the middle, and it stops these from ever opening up and creating a trip hazard.
Yes.
Whoever changed all the bolts, did they remove the rust? Like if you come in here and here, you see all the rust in there? So they changed the bolt, but in some of these, what didn't they do? They didn't remove the rust.
They didn't open up and cleaned and primed it.
Right, and then you're supposed to silicone shut these, right? So that the water doesn't get in there. Look at all the rust inside here, and then nothing over here, right? So now you have to do some of these. So some of them need cleaning, some of them do not. Even though they have all brand new bolts, they never cleansed them out. They never cleaned them and then sealed them.
Yes.
Did you see the ocean? You want to show the ocean here? Okay. Yep. What's happening here? What's this big hole here? What's that tell you if you want to get down there and show?
Again, it's similar to the rail situation because it's boxed in. The water's just keep heating at it and and rusting it from the inside out.
So a grating here, you got spacer issues on all these gratings also too?
Yes.
Right? Because it's a component. So unless we have a disclaimer of liability, all these spacers, you can't just seal them. You have to basically let those alone and just create a new reinforcement.
Yes.
What's going on the outside there? The great showing. So if somebody left the original hardware, can go down there. You see original bolt and the rust they left it in there. So that all needs to be loosened up. And then silicone shut.
Yep.
Okay. So same thing with all the welded corners on the rails. To avoid the load test or the X-ray, we just need to rebolt it. And you can see, here's a great example of a crack. Here's a weld. We can already see the crack right there, right? You can see the crack? Okay. So going down the stairs, what do we have that you're concerned about? And you can look in here too. Look at that mess that they left alone in that corner inside. You probably shoot from this side better.
Yep.
Okay. So look at all they never sealed all the treads, right? And when you look down now, you can see what happens with the salt water in the ocean. And you want to take a look at some of these spacers here? This is a great spacer problem here on the treads. You can see the spacers rotted out, That means this flat is ready to give way, create a trip hazard for somebody. Okay, let's go down. So it starts repeating itself when you start looking up. She's been painted 5 to 10 years ago. She's due for another paint job, but otherwise she's still got more paint than rust, right?
Yes.
So you can also spot paint this job too. You don't want to do a full paint job at this time. But again, more rust in these connections. Going all the way down. The box is accumulating rust. So the box on the grating. Anything else you're noticing? Again, railing's not tied in correctly here. Okay. So all welded connections need a bolt. All bolted connections need to be sealed. There's another rotted channel there.
Underneath all those channels got the same situation.
Yeah.
Got the hole there.
So all the things we talked about upstairs, and the treads start getting worse. You start seeing all the rotted treads there, right?
Yes.
You start looking on this side, you can see a lot of the rotted separators. The grating has the same issue. The box underneath the rails are all rotted out there. Railing's not properly tied back in.
Yep.
So some of the stuff you can do with a disclaimer, right? If the city official allows this to be signed off, some of the stuff can be just the spot repair work only, change only some of the treads.
Yep. We got the connection to the wall, right?
Needs to be sealed.
Through bolt and stuff.
Yeah. So let's talk about these cement footings. And what do you want to do down here? What's going on at these feet? What's the biggest problem you have here?
You should tie them. And there's a water connection that needs to be bolted too.
There's a hole there.
And
So
again,
these are rotting out.
holes in every string.
You know, so you can actually put the.
On every landing's got the hole.
Yeah. So this is rot. These have never been painted on the inside. So somebody's got to use a hand glove or something in there, and you got to tar these feet, paint the cement so it doesn't absorb water. We talk about these feet. What do you want to do here? What do you want to do with these things where you got pools that can, you know, pools of salty water can land in here?
That's hard.
What do you want to do with the cement? You want to paint it? Yep. Paint it or tar it and stop the water from. You see how it stays wet in there? So these feet need to be reattached correctly.
See through the wall that needs to put the.
And you said you saw a problem here. What's the problem here?
Again, they swapped the hardware, but they never cleaned it. So some places are worse than others, building more rust. You know, all the time.
And you can see the tread issues here from underneath. They changed the bolts on the treads, but they left the rust on the treads there, right? Yep. And then the one up above, just above that is, you know, the rust is starting to get in there. A lot of that is fed from water below. So examples here, you know, rust is starting to come through. Rust is starting to come through. Turn around here, you can see it here. More evident. Rust is starting to come through from above and up here, right? If you come back here, you can see rust is starting to come through from above. So all these, as soon as you seal them from above, you don't have an issue. Okay. So fire escape does not pass inspection. Does need some spot repairs to be done, or more, in order for it to pass. We need to speak with the city official as to whether or not they want to load test this after the spot repairs, or if full refurbishment is done, including all the welder connections getting rebolted, then there is no load testing concerns for the next 15 to 25 years. Again, we'll discuss that with the city official, discuss that with the owner. Fire escape engineers inspect the summary video. 866-649-0333.